Someone tell me, why do you need to name node format?
If there is any old configuration files like version and cluster ID, sorry, cluster ID and block ID will be there. We have to format that one and it will create a new one.
There won't be any old, right? When you are doing a very fresh setup, why from where will get the old? From where will get the old version ID? From where will get the old details, right? Very simple, guys. When you do a name node format, first time, it is recommended to do a name node format to recreate the directories for the name node directory, for the data node directory. Along with them, it will get create a cluster ID. It will get create a cluster ID, and it will get create block pool ID, and it will get create namespace ID. These details will be get created at the time of name node format, right? When you do a name node format frequently after cluster is started, whatever the data you have loaded into the cluster, the data will be cleanly removed. So it is not recommended to execute name node format command whenever you're facing a problem. Name node format command has to execute at the very first time at the time of your setting up the cluster, very first time. And if you feel that there is something went wrong in the setup, and I mean there is some problem with your creating cluster ID and your data node is not coming up, and you don't worry about the data which is there in HDFS, then you will go and do name node format. What is the command to do a name node format? What is the command to do a name node format? Hadoop name node
Name node form Hadoop name node format hyphen format.
format. I hope everyone is clear about this, right? So
Yes, Veera.
let me recollect what we discussed yesterday. Services. Don't say it's not a problem. Okay, we were discussing about this. Okay, we were discussing about the site specific. Okay, fine, good. Okay, so why do we have a two set of XML files? Why do we have a two set of XML files? Why?
One is default one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one is default one and another is for this particular cluster.
Okay.
So whatever setting we default will have like default block size, default replication factor as 3, block size as 128 MB, but the site XML, whatever configuration we want to provide, so we can do that for that particular cluster.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Hmm. Very good.
Is that
Anyone
right?
else? Anyone else? So when you do a cluster setup, when you install a Hadoop software, there will be two set of XML files. One set of XML files are the default XMLs, and one set of XML files are your site specific XML files. Your site specific means your cluster specific, not the project specific, your cluster specific. Suppose your cluster has to load a block size 32 MB, or your name node is running on the specific machine, or your data node is data node folder you have created a different location. So all these are specific to your cluster, your replication factor, your block size, your number of mappers, your number of water split size, whatever you are specific to your cluster, those configurations we will keep in a specific XML file. Let's say something related to Hdfs files, we will keep in Hdfs file. If there is something related to core, we will keep in core. There is something related to yarn specific, we will keep in this. There is something specific to MapReduce, we will keep in it. But what these default XML files will be doing, these default XML files will be having all the list of configuration which is going to support by your Hadoop setup, which is supported by your Hadoop, right? If any configuration has to change, you can say that. So anyway, I'm downloading in the software into my machine. I'm downloading the software into my machine. Why should I create a new set of files, why can't I go ahead and use the default XML files? So that version, what are the configurations are supporting by, that information will be available in your default XMLs. So the default XMLs are a default XML configuration file for that specific version of the software. Any doubts? Any doubts? And
Hi, Veera.
yeah, go ahead. Someone was asking me.
Yeah, hi, Veera. Can you please repeat that why we are setting this site properties,
Okay.
site.xml properties?
Okay. The site.xml properties are specific to your cluster. Let's say when you are using Hadoop 2 version. In that there are some default configurations which will be across the same to whoever is using the same version. So it doesn't mean that you also has to use the same cluster in your environment. Your environment, your name node is different. In your environment, your name node folder is different. Your data node folder is different. Your block size is different if you want. Your replication factor is different, right? The security details are different. Your number of mappers you want to launch for a specific processing is different. Number of reducers may be different. Your input split may be different. So these are the specific cluster specific configurations we will keep in a site XML files. Some configurations which are common across the world or across the version of the specific software, those will be there in the default XML files. These are the default which come across along with the software. These are the site specific or cluster specific we will change as per our requirement. Is this clear?
Yeah, Veera.
Okay, let's move to the next. Okay, for that, I need to stop my the Cloudera because I'm running on the Cloudera here. Let me stop my this. Okay, today we are going to discuss about some more configurations, some important configurations. Then by tomorrow Thursday, right? Tomorrow we have a class, and day after tomorrow we don't have a class. Tomorrow everyone has to do a setup. So tomorrow onwards I will be explaining you a command or the basic commands. A very few commands I will be explaining. Then I will be moving to Java, some basic Java introduction. I think hardly 1 week of Java classes. After that Java,
Uh, Ravi, I'm sorry, we have class tomorrow or day after?
tomorrow there is no day after tomorrow class.
Okay, that as yesterday you mentioned that we'll not have any class on Tuesday and Thursday.
1 second, let me check my calendar. Correct, Dheeraj.
Okay,
I mean, actually, this change
yeah,
happened recently, so I'm not remember. This change has
okay,
happened
no
very
worries.
recently. Yeah. Yeah, Tuesday and Thursday will not be having classes. Okay, it is
Hello.
started. Yeah, hello.
Hi Ravi, this is Saraswati.
Hi, Saraswati.
I have a small question for installation.
Go ahead.
And I installed Ubuntu on top of virtual machine,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm following your videos Hadoop installation. I'm trying to install Hadoop,
Mm-hmm.
and when I'm trying to install Hadoop, just I want to permission for that particular file, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So while I'm doing that, it's showing there is no such file in this directory file. So it's showing like some error.
So which
Where
file
I
you are
did
giving
miss.
permissions? Which file you are giving permissions?
So chow.
Chow. No. Okay,
Yeah,
fine. So I'll make you a presenter. Please share your screen.
sure.
Okay, you will get a request. Please click on that request and your screen will be visible. My screen will be disabled and your screen will be visible. Please start
One
sharing your screen.
second. Yeah. Sorry, I can't log in my Ubuntu.
Why?
Sorry, I'm watching. Showing something error.
What error it is showing? No, at least you can share your screen. So are you logged in through Google Chrome or something? Google Chrome or something?
Google Chrome.
Okay, there will be one option in the right hand side in the top, share your screen.
Yeah.
So you can share at least that. So we can see what is the problem.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to share you. Um,
Yes, Ravi, totally agree because the problem will be, I mean, 80% time the same problem will occur for all.
Yeah,
So it's good that if one is getting the problem, so other might uh,
discussing about that is really
take
good.
it
Yeah.
in future. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Saraswati, do you I think it's have some problem. We'll look at it. Okay, yeah, she's able to share. Okay, go to a login there. Okay, go to Ubuntu.
I can't log in. I'm giving right password, but I can't log in my
So no,
Ubuntu. I don't
check
know.
whether your caps lock is on and check whether you are giving right password or not. The password.
Saraswati, there might be sometimes at the rate
Yeah.
and double quotes might be
Yeah, she
swapped.
logged in
Okay.
successfully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Now, so I'm trying to execute this command, but I can't access. It's
It is not
showing some
user. It is not user. It is not user. You missed the point. You didn't see that. It is USR.
USR. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Use up arrow. You don't need
Okay.
to type everything. You just use up arrow.
Okay.
Just go left. You don't need to remove that. You can use the left arrow to move. USR
Yes, sir.
slash type local. You don't need to type complete local. You can just type LOC and press tab. It automatically autofill it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I can.
Give proper password. So guys, please
Yeah.
keep your passwords very simple, like a Hadoop, like something. See, again the password is not entered properly.
Yes.
Okay. I
Th-
hope you can continue the
Thank
things.
you. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Let me start my screen now.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go to each and every configuration. Now I'm going to show you each and every configuration. We are going to discuss about that. And first I'm going to open my site specific configurations, because these are the basics, guys. These are the basics. We should understand these things. Without knowing these blindly, no, don't assume and don't keep in assumption few things. So we may not able to understand everything. Yes, few things we will keep in assumption. We'll keep forwarding, but whatever the things we can understand, we'll just go ahead and understand them. Okay, so whatever we can understand, at least the basic things, so we'll go ahead and understand them. So whatever anyway we are not able to understand, there's no point to understand about them, and what is not required as well. Okay, here course specific site and your Hdfs site and your Yarn site, MapReduce site, and I'll this Hadoop env, it should get only the Java path, nothing else in that. open these files with gedit. And
I could see there was one more site .xml.
there will be so many, not
Apart
only this
from
KMS site, and you'll have something
yeah,
HTTPS.
HDFS.
So
Yeah.
those are, you no need to worry about them.
Okay.
You should go to share, docs, Hadoop. In this you will be having common and all your default things. Go here, search for it, because you can one file will be in one location. All files will not be in the same location. Hadoop 2. So in Hadoop 1 it was so beautiful. So all will be in a single location. We used to get from the same location. But here, when they have changed this, I mean, there may be some specific reason for it as well. So now we cannot say blindly. Okay, let's try to understand here code default XML, very first one, or else just move. Yeah, let's talk about the HDFS core. We will talk about later. Here, this is the XML file. This is the XML file where all your HDFS related configurations will be there in that. HDFS related means your Hadoop file system related. Where should be my name node directory? Where should my name node your name node is maintaining FS image edit logs, if you guys remember, where it will maintain, where my data has to go into which folder, and how it has to be split into blocks, and what is my block size, what is my replication factor, right? So what is the interval, the heartbeat interval, and how many times if the job fails, how many times it has to retry. So these kind of our HDFS related configurations will be there in a HDFS default XML files. So we may not able to go and look into each and every configuration, because there are huge number of configurations here. We will be talking about the few important things. So the default configuration for the version, by default it is coming as 1, and your logging level is info, log levels are info. And if you have any name node RPC address, like see guys here, RPC address that handles all client requests. In the case of high availability or federation where multiple name nodes are exist, the name node service IDs is added to this. So we'll be adding here saying like this. If you guys remember, I have shown this configuration when we are discussing about federation, name node service 1, name node service 2, like that, right? Those addresses will be given here, because anyway we have only one machine. We are not going to give that. And your RPC bind host, right? You have a detailed description as well. Okay, and where is your secondary name node? By default the secondary name node is in 0000. So suppose you are going to set up a secondary name node here, this is the place where you need to specify the address, right? And HTTPS, this is HTTP, and DFS data node address. So as of now in the single node cluster we are using, we no need to specify any data node server, okay, address or for the data transfers. And let me show you some more. And this is our name node, this is our name node what to say address, where we will be querying, where we will be showing you. Let me check whether my services are not running or not. I think it's not running. Let me start my DFS service.
Ravi, so if we have a multi-node cluster,
Mm-hmm.
if we have like tens of machines and we have n number of name node and n number of data nodes, so
Mm-hmm.
in that case we need to define IP address manually, or while setting up it picks automatically.
No, if it is Ambari, it will picks automatically. If it is a Cloudera manager, it picks automatically. So if it's a Apache Hadoop cluster, you have to specify.
Okay, so
Okay,
Ambari means Hortonworks, right?
Hortonworks, yes.
Okay,
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 let
all
me
right.
check this. Yeah, I think it's running. See guys, here you can see here secondary name node running in this IP address 000, as I shown you just now. And your name node is started, data node is started in the local host only. See here, it started in the local host only. It is also started in the local host. I can say JPS here. I can say JPS. I can see all my 3 services are running. Let's go ahead here in my browser. Try to access the file system. try to access the file system by entering your name node, IP address and port number. Here localhost 50070. 50070 is the port number. So look at guys here. 50070 is the port number. The address and be the base port where the DFS name node web UI will be listening. Where your name node web UI will be listening. Okay.
Ravi, I could see one more number, a 4-digit number in terminal, just left of name node, secondary name node.
These are
Yeah,
the
this
process IDs.
401.
Process IDs. Those are not port numbers. Those are process IDs. In the Linux,
Okay.
all are running as a processes, right? Each process ID it is.
Okay.
Suppose I want to
All
kill
right.
some one of the service, what I will do, kill -9 and I'll give the process ID. So it will kill that specific service.
Okay. All right.
Okay. This is the UI for the Hadoop 2. Even Cloudera Manager also, even Cloudera also, not a Cloudera Manager, that's a cluster managing. In the Cloudera also, as soon as you enter your IP address and port number, you'll also get the same kind of view. But that will be in a blue color because they have customized some, right? Some few things they have customized. You may see little difference, but not completely different. And this is the UI for the Hadoop 2, I can say, where your name node is running. This is the web UI for your name node. And you can see here when it has been started, what is the current version I'm using, and what is my cluster ID, what is my block pool ID. And if you go down, you'll see here how much space has been allocated for this cluster, and what is the DFS, how much it is occupied, and non-DFS and all. It will be showing the details here, and the block pools and how much percentage of that it has been used. The important thing is live nodes. How many live nodes? How many live nodes are there? How many dead nodes are there here? Right? As soon as I click on the live nodes, it will be showing you which is the live node is running. So this is the only one node in our machine. As I shown you here, here 50010. This is your data node IP address. This is your data node IP address. Alright. So if you have multiple data nodes, and we will be having those all the multiple data nodes IP addresses will be listing out here in the web UI. You will be seeing all of them here. Okay. Let's go back. And decommissioning nodes. Decommissioning nodes means commissioning and decommissioning. Commissioning means you are adding a new node to the cluster. You are adding a new node to the cluster. And decommissioning means you are removing some nodes from the cluster. That is, to do that, we have some process. You have to initiate your decommission process. When you initiate your decommission process, what are the prerequisites your name node has to take care, that will be taken. Or what you can do directly, you can specify the IP addresses of all your nodes which you don't want to part of the cluster. There is a configuration called dfs.exclude. There you need to specify. We will talk about that. So I'll show you that all in detail now. And you can see where is my name node storage. I can say where is my name node storage. This is my name node storage. Right. And you can see what type of files it can keep. Image and edit files. Is it active or dead? It is active. And if you see here, journal manager is nothing but who keeps your edit log. Journal file means is nothing but your edit file. That's what I said. Journal, some people say journal file, some people say log file, some people say edit file, right? Some people say edit log file. All are same only, right? The current edit log progress, this is the file, the current progress file, right? So this is the information you will look at in you will view in the overview thing. When you go to data nodes, you will see all your data nodes. And decommissioning, what are the decommissioning nodes, you can see here. And when you go to snapshot, and this snapshot directories, I mean, I really don't know. Wow, maybe there may be specific reason I'm not able to recollect at this time. I need to update on this. And your startup progress, so whether it is properly started up or something failed, your inodes, your delegation tokens, these are all is not really required for you guys. Okay. And go to utilities. In the utilities, you have something called logs, where you can see your data node and name node, secondary name node logs. If you find any issue with your system, If you find any issue with your system, you can find those logs. You can find those logs in your Hadoop home directory itself. In your Hadoop home directory itself. Here you have something called logs. In this logs directory, you can see all the logs. Okay, keep in mind that first, if any name node is not coming, data node is not coming, don't go blindly and do execute the name node format. First, to try to understand what is the issue. Sometimes it may be a very small issue where you can solve without formatting or without restarting. I mean, by what you can say, by starting up the specific that error. Like, so let's say one data node is not coming up, so you can specifically that data node you can make it wake up instead of starting all the cluster again. Right, first try to look at the logs and try to understand, right? And coming back here, and utilities, there is something called file browse. What this file browse will give you a UI for browsing your directories in HDFS. So HDFS, as I said, is a virtual layer on top of the local file system, right? So you want to know this is root slash is the my parent directory, and from there what are the directories you have created, all the directories will be listed out here. So not only directories, you can also keep the files. And also, if you observe here, whatever the directories are there, for the directory size is 0 and replication factor is 0 and block size is also 0. Directory is just a logical representation. The actual data is files. This is a file. You can differentiate by seeing the permissions. At the time of the it's at the column of permissions, there is something called D is appended. If it is D is appended to your permissions, that means that's a directory permissions. And you can see a owner, and you can see a group, you can see a size and all those things, right? So this is about the high level introduction about your name node UI. And there is something called, let's go back to overview. At the bottom of the right corner, let me select and show you. At the bottom of the right corner, you will be seeing the something called legacy UI. When you click on the legacy UI, this is a old UI for Hadoop 1 initial no UI of Hadoop. So here also the same configurations, but they have decorated some nicely. Here no decoration, as simple, nothing that much, nothing else. So if you want to browse the files, go to the browse the files. As soon as you click on the file browse, you can see all your directories and permissions and all. There they have nicely designed, but here is that's not that much nicely designed. Okay, let's go back to our configurations, and you can see, and what else? Let me see, guys. So by saying the configuration, I will tell you. Anyway, replication, block size and all will be there. We'll be seeing them. And suppose if you are setting up any backup node, look at here, your backup node server IP address and port number. If the port number is 0, then the server will be start on the free port. If the port number is 0, the server will start on the free port. If you are setting up the backup node. And here something called data node DNS server. The host name of the IP address and server's DNS, which data node should be used to determine the host name used by the name node communications and display purpose. And you can have your backup HTTP address, the backup node HTTP server address and port, and what else? Replication. That's not the replication. Our replication is something different. I'll show you. So this is something we need to understand. The default chunk view size.
Ravi,
Uh-huh.
Ravi, what is backup node?
Very good question. So we have already covered the backup node. So can someone cover, or you will go back and view the
I'm
video?
sorry, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll view the video. I think I
Please.
missed that session,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
no.
So I'm really happy if you go back and check it, and if you come back with the doubts, I'm really happy to help you. Okay, so guys, try to understand this is what is this configuration. This configuration is I don't want to see the whole data. I want to see only chunk of the data in the browser. Here, I'll select, let me select a bigger file. I think I have some bigger files here. 128 MB block file. This is the file. Here, how much data has to show in this chunk, in a single chunk? How much data has to display in a single chunk? When I say next, it will show next chunk. When I say again next chunk, how much? So that information will be available in this configuration. You want to display more, you can go ahead and display more. It is in a bytes. If it is in bytes, okay. So there is something called du reserved space in bytes per volume. Always leave this much space free for the non-DFS users. So we will be talking about in the data node, we'll be having a data node, right? In the data node, we'll be having a local file system as well as HDFS. How much space you will reserve for the HDFS? How much space you will reserve for the database? Normal file system. Okay. How much space you will reserve for the HDFS? How much space you will reserve for the local file system? That is the how much your bytes you can give here. Okay, and this is another
So
important
this zero is the Ravi, this zero is reserved for local one, right?
as enough both are acting as a single, right? We are not reserved anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So another
Okay.
important configuration is this DFS name node dir. This is we need. It is a must and should to configure. It is a must and should to configure when you do a setup. Let's copy this and go back to my default XML file. I'll show you this. This is a must and should when you're doing a setup. This is must and should you need to do. This is the one. If you guys remember, I have shown user local Hadoop beyond data. Where is my name node, right? This is the location. Why I should must and should display this? If I didn't, I need to set it. Must and should I need to set it in site.xml. Why? If I didn't set it, guys, look at here. What it is telling? File. File colon slash slash means your local file system. HDFS colon slash slash means your HDFS file system. I hope everyone clear about it. There is something called file colon slash slash. When you say file colon slash slash, it is local file system. When you say HDFS colon slash slash, there are so many cases where you'll show HDFS colon slash slash. So that means your HDFS, you are referring to HDFS file system. Here, it is clearly saying that Hadoop.temp directory. What is this Hadoop.temp directory? Look at guys. This is the temporary directory in the local file system, your local file systems. To as simple as to tell you. But I want to show you this. It will be there another configuration file over this here. I think. No. What is that for configuration name? Temp Hadoop.temp. Okay. Hadoop.temp. Hadoop.temp. Look at guys here. What is my Hadoop.temp directory? The configuration saying that /temp Hadoop hyphen your username. What does it mean? Look at guys here. Look at guys here. cd/temp Hadoop hyphen my username. My Hadoop username. So if you didn't set that configuration in your Hadoop HDFS sorry, default XML, if you didn't set this XML this configuration manually into your HDFS site, by default it will create in a temporary directory. By default it will create in a temporary directory. What is the problem if it create in temporary directory? Guys, this is also an interview question. This is also an interview question. Why by default it is a temporary directory? Why I need to change it? Why do I need to change it? If you didn't change your namespace information, your data node blocks and all will go into /temp. If it go into /temp, what is the problem guys? Your temporary directory will be clean up periodically. Your temporary directory will be clean up periodically in Linux environment. If it is clean up periodically, what will happen? whatever the data you have loaded, all the data will be gone. So that's the reason we should change. It means on our site specific, we should change dfs.name.dir. Not only that, even data dir, so we don't need this. Let's go back, let's go down and restore. Okay, this is another important, but we are not going to see for in a set normal mode. Look at guys here, dfs.namenode.namedir restore false. Set to true enable the name node to attempt to recover a previously failed dfs name node dir. If it is something is failed in this configuration, you can recover it by enabling this. When enabled, a recovery of any failed directory is attempted to during the checkpointing. When it will do, checkpointing is nothing but merging your edits with fs image. That time it will try to recover. So this is another important configuration we need to understand. And your fs limit maximum, so that defines the maximum number of bytes in unity of encode in each component path. So by default is 255. We don't need to worry about that. Min block, the fs limit min block size, the minimum block size in bytes enforced by the number number to create at the time, the prevent accidental creation of the file with the tiny block size, and which can be degraded the performance. Not sure what is really talking. It's a minimum block size in bytes, so maybe something called minimum block size. Let me check this in it is in bytes. So if I convert into MB, bytes to K to KB, 1000 KB divided by KB. 1 second, let me open my calc and it will pour in calculations. 1048576 divided by 1 MB. By default it's 1 MB.
Sorry, Veera, I mean it's which block size?
I think it's the minimum block size enforced by the name node at the create time. So minimum block size has to be this 1 MB, but it's not no, it's not considerable factor. So anyway, you can small files also you can load it.
Okay.
Okay. A name node data edit dir. Where is your edits dir? Your edits dir is nothing but your name node directory only. I have shown you before the same directory. Shared dir. Suppose you want to share edits with any other location, you can keep that location here. And what is this? Administration, account, access control limits. These are all will come for the access control limit too. So control limits are something like let's say I have a development and testing team, and I'll specify some specific access control limit for them, and I'll specify some access control limit for development team. So where you can give the access control to specific team, and you can give the default. By default it's a one group, and you have to change the group. I will show you that when we are going to discuss about the schedulers. There are three type of schedulers. I will show you that. So FIFO scheduler, first in first out, whichever the jobs come first, they will occupy the resource and they will finish. And next one is the capacity, and for testing team, for development team, for production team, we will specify some capacity for each and every team. If you really want it, then capacity scheduler will be we have to configure. And there is something called fair scheduler. It's a fairly acts. So based on the job, the job number of jobs that is required. Let's assume that my job is launched, which is occupied full completely to started processing. There is an important job came which required only one mapper, one reducer. So that job cannot, no need to wait for me to complete, right? So if I configure fair, it's a fairly allocate some resources for that important job. Okay, Let's move some more important. Let's go back. Your data node permissions. For data node directory permissions, by default owner will have everything, but group and others will not have any permissions. Only owner will have all the permissions. Your replication factor, dfs dot replication is 3. By default replication factor is 3, and your maximum replication factor is 512, and your minimum replication factor is 1. Okay, and the default block size is this much. So you can take this. You can also check what is the size of the default. If you want, you can also check it. So 134217728. Oh, sorry, I'm wrongly doing it. I'm just blindly going with 1000. We should not go with 1000. Why we will go with 1000? We should not go with 1000.
1024,
Yes,
1024.
yes. What happened? 134217728 divide 1024 divide 1024. 128 MB. Got 128 MB. Okay, the default block size 120 MB in this. And while writing dfs dot client block write retries, guys, someone asked me this question sometime before, I hope from here or somewhere. So how many times it will retry to write the block? 3 times. The number of retries to write the block into the data node. The 3 times it is failed, the job will fail. It means that in that machine, in the data node, it cannot write. Other two nodes are there, no, it can write it. If you have a replication factor 3, if you have only one replication and you are not able to write into that, job will fail. This is the number of times it will retry. If you want to change it, you can go ahead and change it. How to change? Yeah, another important thing we need to suppose I want to change in my site.xml. How to change? Copy from here, go here and paste it here and change the number, and you refresh nodes or you restart the machine thing. You refresh or restart. Okay. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, those are the major configurations which we need to understand. And I don't think anything else here. Intervals, I'll show you that, the heartbeat intervals are there, right? The block report split threshold, this is threshold, the block report threshold. And let's go back. Heartbeat interval, guys, this is a heartbeat interval 3. As I said before, your name node will be keep sending a signal to a data your data node keeps sending the signal to a name node every 3 seconds here. If DFS name node handler count the number of server threads for the name node, and your safe mode threshold, your name node safe mode threshold, we discussed about something called threshold. Name node going into safe mode. What is the percentage? Specify the percentage of the blocks that should satisfy. Do you guys remember I said 80% of the people has to report at the time of to come out from the safe mode? This is the configuration. 99% is by default. Specify the percentage of the Hmm.
Ravi, what is yeah? I understood that 3 was determining the data node heartbeat time interval. I mean, whatever signal heartbeat it sends every 3 seconds to name node. The second one was 10. But I mean, I couldn't understand the number of server threads for the name node.
Okay, how many server threads will be there for name node? Server threads, thread who will process, or who will how can you say it? Who will process specific action? Who will process a specific action? Your name node can handle parallelly 10 threads.
Okay, I mean, if 10, there are 10 number of clients. wants
No,
some
it's more than
wants
that. Even if within single mission also it can handle 10 threads. 10 threads can process at a time.
okay.
How many your name node can handle? Okay, this is the when your name node is in safe mode. To come out from the safe mode, what is how many blocks has to satisfy? Specifies the percentage of the blocks that should satisfy the minimal replication requirement defined by the DFS replication minimum replication factor. How many machines has to tell at least minimum? Let's say I have 10 machines. The 10 machines has to tell one copy, at least one copy minimum replication. So 99% of the cluster has to specify that the minimum copies. Okay, so values less than equal to 0 means not to wait. If you keep it 0 here, you no need to wait. Your name node will come out automatically from the safe mode if you specify 0 here, right? That's the one we need to understand. A DFS name node, safe mode, a minimum data nodes. How many minimum data nodes has to specify? Specify the number of data nodes that must be considered alive before name node exit from the safe mode. Is there any machine should be alive? If the any data node should be alive before your safe mode exiting? No, no need. It's no need, right? That's a 0 specifies. So value less than or 0 or equal to means not to take a number of live data nodes into account when deciding whether the remain safe mode during startup. Value greater than value greater than that, the number of data nodes in the cluster should no it's what you will do. If you make it 1 here, there may be chances your cluster may be safe mode for a long time. Okay, your safe mode extension, how many milliseconds? Your safe mode can extend, determines the extension of the safe mode in milliseconds after the threshold level is reached. Your threshold level is reached, some certain period it's reached, so how much time it has to. So okay, that's the one thing. Resource du reserved, how much space has been reserved for your no, the amount of the space is reserved or required for the name node storage directory in bytes, your name node storage directory. A name node resource checked. Let me move forward. If you keep discussing one by one, it will take so much of time. This is another important configuration. Suppose you want to add a new machine into the cluster, new machines into the cluster. What you need to do, you have to collect all the machine IP addresses, and you have to specify the path of the file. You collect all the IP addresses of the machines, keep it in a file, give the file path here where the file is located, that path here. So your name node will recognize, okay, these are the machines are newly added. Your name node can recognize automatically these are the machines newly added to the cluster. Okay, and exclude, suppose you want to decommission any of the machines from the cluster, and you collect those IP addresses, put into file, give that file path here. So those IP addresses will not be considered for the further storing the data or receiving the data or reading the data, I can say. Your decommission interval, name node periodicity in seconds to check if decommission is complete. So when you start the decommission, every 30 seconds it will check whether is there any decommission is in progress. Okay, this is another interval. Your replication interval, periodically seconds which name node computes the replication. It will be keep checking. It will be keep checking every 3 seconds what is the replication count. And
Ravi, all these property should we have in our fingertips as a developer or not
no need,
required?
not required, because here I'm explaining you. There are some people who ask me what are the configurations required for that, and they want, some people want to for the administration part. So that's the reason I'm explaining. For the
Okay.
developer, no need, no need. Okay.
Okay. I mean, I'm asking from the point of view, I mean, can we face this in interview? I mean, some of these,
Some basics
like,
has to be there may be
yeah,
chances.
like this temp directory, of course, and block size application, I mean, those are
Correct.
understandable.
And also you
Yeah.
need to understand this. What is your checkpoint directory? Suppose you have configured secondary name node. Where is secondary name node you will configure, right? And what is the edits directory for the secondary name node? Edits directory for the secondary name node where you will configure, right? And what is the period? DFS node checkpoints. Every how much time? Every 1 hour. This is in minutes. Sorry, it's in seconds. the number of seconds for periodic checkpoints. 3600 seconds. 3600 seconds, how much time? 1 hour. Checkpoints, how many transactions? 1 million transactions. Look at guys here. This is what I was explaining before. Right? Your checkpoint period, keep checking. You keep checking how many, whether this is both the actions are happened or not. Right? And there is one more configuration, and these are all your maximum checkpoint tries and all. Your secondary name node will be keep pinging your name node every 60 seconds. Okay, these are the some configurations we need to understand from here. And let's move to core, which is the very core, like these kind of configurations. And these kind of configurations will be available in the authentication. This kind of configuration will be there in that. In Yarn, your resource manager, your scheduler, your application master, those information will be there in this resource manager on Yarn services. Coming to map rate, what is input split size, what is the maximum input split size, minimum input split size, how many mappers, right? How many default reducers, how, so that kind of information. What is the IO sort MB, IO sort MB, map rate is IO sort MB, 100 MB, circular buffer, it is called circular buffer. What is the percentage of the circular buffer, right? So these are the configuration will be there in your map radius. Okay, so this is about the configuration files, guys. I mean, I know that I have now completing a little fast here because your job tracker address, where your job tracker will be running, and you guys can go through yourself where your task tracker is running.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I mean, if we have installed, I think Hadoop too. So why we are seeing job tracker and task tracker?
So these are the default configurations. Even your what it will do internally, your job tracker roles has been divided into resource manager. Your job tracker ideally is a resource manager here, and your task tracker is nothing but your node manager. Correct? The tasks will be the same, right? The tasks will be same, right?
Yes, but I mean, like Hadoop one job tracker does everything. I mean, apart from resource manager, it does resource allocation as well. I mean,
See,
many things.
ideally, even though they have named it a resource manager and node manager, ideally internally they are job tracker and task tracker only. The only difference is your job tracker roles has been divided into two. Okay,
Okay.
so before your job tracker only use uh, considering all the roles like identifying the machines, launching the job,
Yeah.
monitoring the job,
Yeah.
all these things will be
Yeah.
doing by your job tracker. Now they have divided it. One is they have divided into, one is resource manager. Inside that
Resource manager. Yeah.
you will be having a scheduler.
And app master.
So they have app master.
Yeah.
They have divided the roles, and they will be divided into I mean two different tasks has been divided. So they have reduced the burden on the job tracker. But internally they are job trackers only, right? So the configurations remain, they change, they keep it same.
Okay.
Okay. So okay, where your map reduce local
I
directory.
was confused, so I thought that why it's in Hadoop 2 version. Okay, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
understood.
So these are the some of the some of the directories, some of the your configurations. Okay, I know that I didn't go through each and every configurations, and there is specific reason for it, right? I cannot go through each and every configuration, and it's also already 10:07 now, so people has to go with, and we need to start with a new thing, and still we're stuck with the HDFS only. We need to start with something commands. So by tomorrow we'll be starting commands. And also, if any map job is failing, how many attempts it will do? 4 attempts by default. 4 attempts by default, it will attempt 4 times. Suppose your resource manager is not, I'm not able to connect to resource manager. How many attempts? 10 attempts. So those are all configurations. I'm not able to launch my reducer. How many attempts I will do? 4 attempts. So why I'm showing these configurations, I understand you guys are developers or administrators. Why I'm showing these configurations? If you know these configurations, you will understand that okay, there is something in the background. It is not like everything we cannot assume, okay, it is going like this, yeah, let it run. So we should not be like a very limited our knowledge. It is launching map or reduce job. map and reduce job is working fine, so it is failed, it is success. So we should not be limited to that. So we should know something more than that. So how it is processing, someone should be there, no, some job is failing, I'm seeing 4 attempts. So when you go and look at the logs, guys, okay, when you go and look at the logs, when you go and look at your job logs, let me start it. Sorry. When you go ahead and look at your job logs, I can say here, just not it up, let it up. If it once it is up, I'll show you. It is up. It's up. It's up. What happened? Resource manager, node manager. Why it is not up? What's the problem? My resource manager is there. Node manager is there. Do I need to launch a job? Without launching job, I cannot see. I think. Let me start some job. Jars. Scrub. WC hyphen scrub job. And I'm going to launch some job, guys. Let me show you this. I want to launch one job. Okay. So I want to launch one job, and I want to show you guys, okay, how it will work. Paste this. Okay, I need to specify my driver class name, com dot vira dot mo dot what count under or count driver. I'm thinking this is the one only. Let me check that as well one more time. Jars. Oh, it's not executable file. And let me give slash training 1 slash wc. I hope it's correct only. Com dot no com dot vira dot mo dot jobs. Yeah, it is jobs dot. It is launching your MapReduce job. Let's look at, guys, here resource manager. It found the resource manager here, right? Let me start this now. Yeah, resource manager is started, right? That's the reason. I mean, it started, but it is received the request, right? Now it is connecting. Look at here. It is starting my map job and reduce job. It will take a little more time because I have a bigger file I have given. A little bigger file I have given. Let it take time. Yeah, started. Let's look at, guys, here. Everyone, please. This is your job ID. As soon as I launch job, look at here. Job ID is created. This is the job ID is created. Okay. So this is job ID. When you click on the job ID, you can also, this also will take you to specific, or else you can copy this. Anyway, don't worry, it will take some more time because it has to do that. You can also copy from here. and you can also paste it here. To see the specific job, to see that specific job, or else you can also click on this job ID. You can also click on the job ID. Both are same. Now the job is running, right? Look at here, and your logs will go here. Your job name, who is the user has launched it. So why I'm showing this, to show you that how many times your map is failed. Suppose if any job is failed to launch, it will, here it will show that, not here, in this, in this it will clearly shows that how many attempts the job has been attempted. If any job is failed, how many attempts are attempted for that specific job, irrespective of a mapper or reducer. So that configuration is available here, the 4 times or 3 times. So you can configure it based on your requirement. Okay, so map reducer reduce the fetch, how much time I need to fetch. Copy phase, it is called copy phase. Everyone knows that short and shuffle phase, there is something called copy phase as well. Okay, so these are the configurations, guys. So we will wind up now with this information, and in the coming class we will discuss about commands in detail. Okay, so I would like to wind up now.